All right, welcome back into another PrizePicks video. Going to be touching on the top props in MLB and NHL today. We do not have any NBA today, so that's why we're going to be touching on MLB and NHL. Now, this week has went well thus far. We're going to be up 4 units heading into the last day of the week. Either we're going to cash another one, or we're going to be up 3 units on the week. Another solid week. Hope you guys were able to take advantage of that. Let's go and get into the picks for today. So I had already tweeted out what my favorite MLB props were for today, especially with pitching ones, because I was unable to do this video as early as I typically would like to. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to touch on the top props that are available on the 9to5 PrizePicks cheat sheet for the day. Now, that being said, I don't mind the idea of going Sandy for over strikeouts. He is someone that, he's starting to pitch better. He's starting to pitch deeper into games as well. And if you look at Cincinnati, they're going to be one of the teams that over their last 3 games, they've given up bottom 5 strikeouts to opposing teams. So a good matchup in that sense. And then on the season, they also rank out as one of the easiest teams to strike out as well. Bottom 8 there as well. So overall, this should be a good matchup for Sandy as long as he continues to pitch deep into games like he has been known to, especially last season. Then he's going to be a good option. And if he's going to continue to, I think he's starting to pitch better. If that continues, I could see him potentially being someone that we would want to use for fantasy score. But as we can see, this is a very high number that we are getting for him. But now I want to call this out directly, because if we look at it, and pitching props are a little bit different when it comes to the 9to5 cheat sheet, because hardly ever is it going to account for someone getting a win. But if we look at the Vegas line, it is suggesting that 1, he's going to pitch deep, 2, he's probably going to get a quality starter win. And so just given the fact that the Vegas line is suggesting that he should be over for fantasy score, I kind of don't mind that idea. And his projection is not that far off as well. So that's probably the best pitching prop that we are getting on the day thus far today. Then I just want to look at both Underdog and PrizePicks, kind of compare the two based off the props that we currently have. And so we can see we are getting only one prop where maybe Underdog is valuing Joe Ryan a little bit more than PrizePicks it. And so this could be a situation in which PrizePicks eventually bumps it. Joe Ryan has been a solid pitcher thus far for the Minnesota Twins. I believe he had a rough start in his last game. Yeah, he did have a rough start in his last game. Okay. And the Cubs, I have a lot of their players on fantasy baseball. Bellinger, Wisdom, and I also have Joe Ryan. So it's going to be an interesting day for me there, fantasy baseball wise. But yeah, if you guys want to roll with that, you could. Obviously, if you think he's going to struggle, you could bet the under on Underdog. So you guys know, I only like to bring up the bet of the day from the previous day when it's more of a learning thing. You guys know, you guys watching this video know, long-term profit, hitting 60% of the bets, up 100 units since 1-28. Just a solid run. But I'm bringing this up just as want to call it out. The hitting base fantasy score props, they're not going to hit every time, no doubt. It's prop bet, but they have been one of the best in terms of predictability. And I wouldn't have thought this a month ago when I started doing this data point on the 9to5 cheat sheet, but it has been pretty beneficial. I would say it's probably closer to hitting about 65% of the time. And it's very much in a unique situation, a situation in which you'd want to bet it. And to me, the biggest edge that we are getting still today is going to be on these fantasy score based props. So let's go ahead and touch on some of those. But let's go ahead and sort by this. So we're looking at the best hitting props that we are getting available. So we're going to go by projected prop. I want to see that. And then I also want to see where the Vegas line is suggesting that the hitting score should be over as well. So one that we could potentially see would be Francisco Lindor for over fantasy score. That's an okay one. Now, yesterday, once again, with that bet of the day, that prop, the Vegas line was 3 over. The projection was 3 over. That's why it was one in which we wanted to chase. And so that's what we're looking at here. We're trying to find 2 props here that are vastly over what is expected. And maybe Matt Olson as well. So the 2 that we are going to be getting today are not going to be as strong as the ones we got yesterday. That's just the nature of today. Now, I will say throughout the day, it does seem like we are going to get some favorable props, but to me, the best one that we are going to get is that Brandon Nimmo over 7.5 for hitting score. And so I wouldn't say it's a lock and load, but at the same time, we can see why it's looking like it's going to be a good prop bet on the day. So if you guys want to go ahead and use this one, you definitely can. Then we're going to look at the Francisco Lindor prop. And so once again, this prop is not going to be as foolproof, but we'll take it. It's one of the better ones that we are getting on the day, hitting fantasy score wise. So we can see projected get 10.2 for the hitting score. The average Vegas line, sure, they're favoring the under there for sure, but they're it's still a full point and almost a half where the Vegas line is different. So to me, that's gonna be a good prop that we can go ahead and chase today as well. And then if we want to just go ahead and pair that with that Sandy prop for Miami, that pitching prop, the over fantasy pitching score, we could go ahead and do that. I know some of you guys will be in after that game starts. So that's kind of why I'm bringing that up. And so here's what I am looking at for the bet of the day. What I do like about this is that I feel like these correlate pretty well. If one of them's having a good day, maybe one player gets an RBI, one gets a hit, and then the other one scores. Like that does correlate a little bit there. And then obviously just going with the pitching prop. Hopefully that Sandy pitches about 8 innings, gets a quality start, and potentially a win. If that occurs, then yeah, you should be able to get over 41.5 fantasy score against a team that has been struggling lately in terms of strikeout. Now let's go ahead and switch up and get into some NHL props, see if there are any available. So it is kind of crazy. Like there was a good stretch in there like 2 months ago where we were getting so many kind of free squares, kind of tacos, if you will, from NHL based props. And now we have just seen PrizePicks pretty much say, okay, we're putting those even keel. We're going to prop them all as basically pushes. But today we are getting one where you could potentially roll with. It's about a 53% chance to take. Kind of the magic number that I shoot for is 54%. But at the same time, 53, we can do that on a day in which it's tight, on a day in which we're kind of just trying to make bets. That's kind of what we'd be doing here. And so this would be one that you can roll with. Obviously, it's projected to get over that as well. We'd like to see that. So a pretty good prop NHL-wise that you could roll with. And real quickly, let's just take a peek at the PrizePicks versus Underdogs line to see if we are getting any sort of edges on today's slate. So obviously like MLB props, that's going to be a little bit different. We don't really get those too much. So let's flip this around, see if we're getting any big differences at all. Joe Ryan, that's literally the one in which we are getting today where the lines are not matching up. That is crazy to me, but that's just a slate that we have. Interesting there. And for what it's worth, we are getting a very solid prop available on Underdog right now. So we got Rodriguez for over a single. Favored at -150. That's about a 55% chance for that one to hit. That's easily the best bet that we're getting available on today's slate. So if you guys want to go ahead and use that, you can. And we're getting two that are pretty close to being solid bets as well, both -140 for about a 54% chance for those to hit. Those are going to be two solid props as well. By all means, we could go ahead and use those as well. And then for what it's worth, here's another prop that I don't mind. Obviously, this is just using the 9to5 cheat sheet here. These are two props that are available. I realize that most likely going to be gone before lineup lock, so apologies for that. But I do think that these are going to be 3 favorable bets as well. All right, this is going to be all for today's video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the coverage. Hopefully you guys were able to take advantage of another solid week this week. We look to get the next week started tomorrow on Sunday. Good luck today. And as always, let's keep cashing.